All right, so the topic that we're going to cover today is how to agency-proof your digital marketing strategy. Might sound funny, but how do you make sure as an in-house marketing manager or the business owner who's responsible for managing your external agencies that you are always in the driving seat of your digital marketing strategy without even having to understand the nitty-gritties of how digital marketing works on day to day in terms of the strategic elements, why and how you can be in the lead position at all times. And 5 things to know if you work with an external digital agency. This training will cover that in reasonable detail. So let's get started. A bit about myself. I am Sami Khan, and over the last 11 years, I've worked with more than 320 businesses and helped them with their digital marketing strategy. Now, around those 11 years, I've held different positions for the organizations, doing my own consultancy, running my own business, being on the client side, being the client myself. So, safe to say that I've seen the full 360 degree of how digital marketing buying happens in the Australian SMB sector. Seeing the equation from both sides, I realized that there are a few things that the agencies do a bit unfairly, intentionally or unintentionally. This is how the ecosystem has been developed or evolved over the years, that a certain few things are only outsourced to the agencies and the business owners are not really on top of their responsibilities when it comes to growing a business using digital marketing. Now, my audience for this talk today is the in-house marketing managers or even digital marketing managers who are responsible for managing external agencies, and also the SMB owners who probably don't have an in-house marketing team yet, but work with external digital marketing agencies to develop their overall online offering and then are looking to grow. So in the last 11 years, I was lucky to be awarded by some of the most notable organizations nationally, internationally, and a couple of organizational awards that I was lucky to receive in the process. And 31 plus accreditations and certifications from companies like Google, ADMA, LinkedIn, HubSpot, Waze, Lean Six Sigma, and many others gave me the confidence that what I have understood is not only my own personal opinion, but has also been backed and endorsed by organizations which are definitely the thought leaders in the industry that I operate in. So with that said, with my introduction out of the way, let's talk about why we are here one more time. So we are here because as an in-house marketing manager who is responsible for the agencies, or as a small to medium business owner who is working with external marketing partners, digital marketing partners in particular, the visibility or seeing things as more complex than they actually are, because that's how digital marketing has been presented to most of the non-tech or non-digital business owners, as I said, probably deliberately to keep the control on the agency side. And when we talk to the agencies as a client, we get flooded by the jargon that is used. Every agency, when you have multiple agencies, the downside of using multiple agencies is that every agency is trying to optimize their results, sometimes compromising the overall bottom line that your business can achieve. An example of that is that Google Ads will start bidding on your brand terms and trying to steal the clicks that you would have already received from your organic ranking. So your SEO agency's numbers might suffer because your Google ads are doing better. Now, so the wars between the agencies hurt your overall bottom line, either hurt, or even if they stay neutral, that is still a loss for you, because if you are not careful about some of these things, then the traffic that you would have gotten for virtually free using your SEO rankings, if you are getting the exact same traffic from your Google ads, then it means that you paid for a traffic, maybe a few $1,000s you paid that you would have had anyways. So there are a few arguments here about using branded strategies. So this is just an example, but I'm trying to make a point here that you need to be in charge of your strategic controls and your overall strategy, so that you know how you allocate resources and how you allocate your investments across the different partnerships that you have in play. Now, please don't go on and ask me which channels work better than the other, because it's not a case of comparison. Every channel has a responsibility in different stages of the funnel, and they work together in harmony and in alignment in an ideal world, so that they give you the overall results which are most profitable for you. But the reason why it's still important to understand their individual responsibilities is so that you are not cannibalizing your own efforts within the overall digital mix. So that is why we're here. This presentation is highly non-technical. It will not go into the methods of how you can configure your Google Search Console or tag managers, what is a robots.txt, how to set up your pixels and all that. If you joined this training for that reason, you please save yourself some time and click out. This is not what we're going to cover here. But if you are here to collect the strategic eye or the strategic vision that you need to have and look at how you manage the overarching plan of attack, then please stay on with me and we will talk about those things very shortly. And in terms of the opportunity, so the opportunity, of course, just a quick reminder that I'm not sure if you remember, but early 2020, we went into a pandemic, and that caused the people to get more and more homebound. Most of those people were your potential customers as well, even if that's a B2B segment, that also holds true. And what happened with that, some of the businesses who were previously okay running their business in the offline world with the conventional meet and greet and handshake kind of selling and marketing and promotion of their brand and their services, that cannot happen anymore, at least not at the same way as it was happening previous or pre-pandemic. So the opportunity is that while all of your competitors who are jumping online and finding new markets and exploring new opportunities, if you miss out on the strategic advantage that you can have over your competition because you just did not have the right digital strategic understanding, then that'll be missing out a lot and leaving a lot on the table. So the opportunity in this post-pandemic climate is to understand your digital marketing with even more rigorous experience, even a bit more intensity than you previously thought that you required for your business. So if that was a nice to have for your overall marketing channels, now let me remind you that this is a must-have channel that you need to take care of in this current climate, and that probably will stay, because once the customer trends shift towards one thing, it's really hard for them to change it to something else unless another disaster happens. But looking at the climate, it was very natural for people to be homebound when a pandemic happens. The opposite of that will be very less likely unless the internet breaks worldwide and people are no longer available online to see your services. That kind of disaster might probably flip the coin in the opposite direction. Otherwise, you can assume that now, for good, your customers are more and more online, and the digital marketing is gaining popularity and becoming an essential piece of your overall strategy, overall business strategy, and that is here to stay. It will only get more and more important with time. Cool. So now that we've established that, let's talk about what you will learn in this presentation. The first thing that we will discuss is how do you review your digital marketing capabilities. So that's an important one. How do you take stock of your current digital marketing capabilities? And then we will talk about analyzing a full funnel digital marketing strategy. What is a full funnel digital marketing strategy? If you are already aware of the funnels concept, then I think it's still worth staying on for the second point, because we will see how different digital marketing channels relate to different stages of the funnel and how we can build a more holistic, a more collective strategy, which helps your brand, not the agencies that you're working with in silos. Third is how do we not get flooded by your agency's jargon? This is important. The least desired outcome that we want for you, or I want for you as the business leader or the marketing leader in your organization, is to not have the confidence to push back on a certain things that your agency promises. They're not all villains. They're not all negative people. There are some brilliant agencies out there. I can actually connect you with a few that I personally know myself, or maybe some of them I haven't even worked with, but they carry a really good reputation. So it's not at all to say to criminalize the agencies that you're working with. It's just that the way of doing has evolved in a way that it needs a bit more education on the business's side, on the brand side, and that is why you are tuning into this workshop. That is why I have put this together. So we will talk about how do we not get flooded by your agency's jargon, and setting smart KPIs with your agencies for reporting. Setting key performance indicators for your digital marketing is a multi-million-dollar question. I have had this question sent to me, thrown at me like in dozens of different ways. And sometimes it gets too complex that businesses go and resort to the lazy approach when they say, all right, I'll just look at what goes in and what comes out, as if it was as simple as that. If you, as a business owner, have been guilty of saying, I just look at what I'm investing and what I'm getting out on the other side of the equation, and that is the extent of your key performance indicator setting, then you are missing out on a lot. Don't believe me? Hear out this example. You have an apple tree and you hire someone to bring the fruit of that tree, which is apple in this case, to you. All right. So let's say you pay them $20 an hour and you hire them for 10 hours every month. And then you look at their performance based on how many apples do they bring to you. You look at the fact that, all right, that's my tree, but I have assigned someone else. I pay them $100 and they bring me 100 apples in return within a month. And that is how I see my ROI. That's probably how you are calculating your current digital investments outcomes, because you're looking at the cost that's going in and the outcome that you're getting within that 30-day window. Now, there are two possible kind of people that you will partner with. One of them will use every hour. So the 10 hours that you give to them, they'll probably use all of those 10 hours in plucking the maximum number of apples that they can from the tree, and which sounds really good if you just look at it in an isolation. So what they do is another agency comes and say, actually, we can give you 120 apples within a month. So you pay them $100 and they in the month they produce 120 apples because they were able to find more time and they were more efficient in terms of plucking that apple from the tree and bringing that in a basket to your doorstep. And when you do an end of month count, we're using the same old business owner's logic that I just see what goes in and what comes out. You count 120 apples and you don't really think hard before assigning that new person a contract to do the apple picking for you. Might seem okay, might seem like a reasonable decision, unless you go back to the apple tree and really see if the new team that you assigned, who was giving you 120 apples in the month, were they spending any time future proofing? Were they spending any time nurturing the apple tree itself so that it continues to give you apple for the next few months? Were they watering the plant? Were they taking care of the soil and the fertilizer for 10 to 20% of their time? Or were they optimizing every effort that they had in terms of plucking the fruit from the tree? Now, when you take that into consideration, you realize that, all right, the person that I had before was actually taking care of the future proofing of my business. They were doing things like good content marketing. They were doing things like SEO, which take months and sometimes years to build, but then they future proof your business. And on the other hand, the agency that you, well, the apple picker that you employed was only focused on doing the lower funnel decision stage marketing, running some super low funnel Google ads or some catalog ads on Facebook, and just skimming whatever benefit was available in the market with your existing demand. They were doing absolutely nothing to generate new demand for you. They were doing absolutely nothing for your brand to grow in the longer run. So you see, it becomes more and more complex as you start thinking about it. So what goes in and what comes out, it is not as straightforward as that. It needs to be more considered. It needs to be a bit more thought through. But don't worry, we will talk about what is an easy way to establish your smart KPIs within your current marketing efforts, your digital marketing efforts. And also it will be, again, very non-technical, very strategic, very business owner friendly, very general marketing language friendly. So what you will learn today will hopefully help you manage your digital marketing agencies relationships even better. Maybe you will educate some of your partners along the way. Heads up, because more than half of the agencies that I know out of the hundreds, they don't know these models. And I'm bringing the absolute best and the cream so that you are ahead of the game at all times and you are always in the lead position, regardless of the fact if you are doing it hands-on yourself or if you have outsourced the function. As long as you have your strategic eye on the plan, you will be on your way to winning. And then the fifth one is doing an easy setup parallel reporting on your performance. So how do you set up some parallel reports that your agencies are probably sending you, but how do you set up your reports so that you can just have a dashboard set up for your own team or for your own view if you are the sole executive in the business, and see how it all adds up, and you don't have to really rely on your agency sending you a very cosmetically touched report that they would in practically all cases. So any report that you receive from SEO and Google Ads or social ads or email automation or content strategy, all of those things will be very highly touched and photoshopped borderline. They will, of course, I assume that they won't be lying about the numbers, but they will only portray what is looking nice and what's looking good, and probably will not share with you what really needs more work, because of course their retainers would depend on that. But if you've got that parallel report set up with you, then you can just compare the performance and really know what is working and what needs more work, not necessarily what's working channel wise, but also what's working your messaging wise. Do you need to change a certain communication style? Do you need to change the approach that you have? Do you need to adjust your tone of voice? Do you need to work on your creatives? Maybe some of those things are your responsibilities, but the agencies are probably will be a bit too shy or a tiny bit scared to bring the negative things up, because that might make them look bad. And what happens is that they just keep sweeping that under the rug, and in a few months you have lost lots of time, and you can always maybe spend more and recover the income that you potentially lost because of those delayed efforts or delayed improvements. But what you cannot get back is your time, which could be worth its weight in gold, right? So what I suggest you in this last step is how you can set up that simple, easy to do, inexpensive parallel reporting, and then just reference that when you are making your own decisions, and just acknowledge your agency's report as well from time to time, and maybe sometimes surprise them by saying that, hey, you already knew that. And the crystal ball that gives you perfect visibility. All right, that's the goodie in this presentation. So if this whole concept that you have discussed here, if that interests you, you can access this full masterclass by clicking on this link and just joining me on the other side, where I will give you all of these points, and I'll explain everything in further detail. I have got absolutely nothing to sell to you towards the end of it. My engagements are fully packed. I'm loaded. I've got really good responsibilities and the projects that I'm currently leading. I do not have the capacity currently to attend to any new opportunities or leads. I've got nothing to sell you, at least for this moment when I'm recording this. There is zero space available on my calendar, which gives, or which should give you, that peace of mind that you can join this class with a total peace of mind that this is going to be pure value. Whatever I've learned over the last 11 years, collecting awards, all those certifications, all that recognition, all those speaking opportunities with my students in 91 countries now. Like, I also publish courses on multiple platforms, and I'm a premium author on Skillshare and Udemy and Teachable. All of that I've done over the years, just trying to summarize most of that, prioritizing the business owner's interest, prioritizing the in-house marketing manager's interest, and packaging that with no CTA towards the end of it. Probably I'm going against my word, because when I'm advising business to do their digital marketing, I advise them to take care of their CTAs. Don't just offer a content and not have any CTA towards the end of it, but it's a deliberate missed CTA opportunity. I am not going to ask you to buy my course. It's going to be all free. Otherwise, the primary agenda of this call is not for me to sell you something. It is for me to share what I've already learned, so that you can go through this and just start managing your digital marketing efforts better as an in-house marketing manager or as a business owner. Why I'm doing that then? This is my contribution to Australian SMB sector. So see, I migrated to Australia 7 years ago as a skilled migrant who had lots of experience previously as well in digital marketing and technology development. The Australian SMB sector took me under its wing, gave me that opportunity gave me the opportunity to bounce back and restart my career from scratch and then reach the heights that I am enjoying at the moment. So this is my response. This is my owing back to the Australian SMB sector, where I've packaged everything that I've learned previous to that and then post that. And I'm just sharing that with you. So anyone who sees that benefits from it, grows the business, grows the economy, and to a point where when more skilled migrants come to this country, they find flourishing and thriving companies willing to take them in and help them grow. So I'm trying to light a candle here as well. So that's my big mission. If you like to proceed, you can just click on the link, join me for the full masterclass, and hopefully you'll gain lots of value from it. Hopefully, I'll see you on the other side. Thank you.